to the Teen and Butty podcast. I'm Erica.
And I'm Dominic.
Stop it! You did that on purpose. God,
every time.
You guys, if you guys listen to our podcast, you know.
You know she cracks up all the time at my delivery of my name.
You just sounded so, abused just then.
And I'm Dominic. Yeah. I told you it would happen.
Oh my god.
I told you.
On today's episode, we're going to be talking about sex education or how...
Sex, baby.
Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about
all the good things and
all
the bad things
that made me. We're going to talk about the differences in sex education in school in the UK versus the US.
Yes. And there's quite a lot of differences. And I think it varies from school to school, obviously, and all that, but, you know.
Yeah.
And country to country, obviously.
And when you went to school in history,
time period of school learning, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what decade were
we got
you
a couple
in
of
school?
replies on Instagram.
Yeah, we put the question out on Instagram. We didn't really give it much time to simmer, but we put it out on Instagram and Twitter, and we got a few replies back.
Yeah.
So we are going to mention those, and I think everybody told us when they went to school, mostly.
Mostly, yeah, but I mean, not really.
Because this topic is definitely going to vary.
Yeah, it's a variable topic.
If you went to school in, let's say maybe a very small town in the deep South United States,
in the late 50s.
Yeah.
Early 60s. Maybe any time from the 50s to the 80s even, I'd say.
Yeah. Anyway, we got some interesting answers. First, Dominic and I are going to talk about...
Our experiences.
Our experiences, or what we can remember. It's been a while since we were in school.
This is coming off the back of our last episode, which was about the Netflix show Sex Education. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it. Thank you very much. Yeah,
we've watched a few more episodes, and it's gotten a lot better, I think.
Yeah, they've started to hit their stride.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing gonna slow them down. Oh no, you got to keep on moving.
Oh my god. Yeah. It's a good show. Check it out. Listen to the podcast. Maybe it'll talk you into checking it out anyway. Okay. So sex ed.
Sex ed.
Did you guys even refer to it that in Britain?
It was year 6, and I remember they said okay, we're going to do sex education tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. They referred to it as sex education.
I seem to remember they did, yeah. And I was in Mrs. Thompson's class, so she was going to do sex education tomorrow, and I can't remember if they split us up, boys and girls got to see something, then boys, or if we just all did it together as a class, you know.
Yeah.
All I remember is Mr. Dillon and Mrs. Thompson standing there and just wheeling in a TV, sticking in a video, and we watched it. And it was basically a very kind of quick, informative video.
About sex? About the act of sex, actually.
Yeah, very briefly. Then we watched a baby being born.
Oh, yeah. At age 10?
Yeah. We watched it actually happen live.
Okay.
Well, not live, you know, but it was
live.
It was like an actual baby being born and everything, and that's all I remember, and everyone was just you know, and then the end, it was they kind of stood there awkwardly going, "We're not embarrassed. You can all ask questions about what you're seeing." And I think by that time, everybody had started to figure out what was going on, you know?
Yeah. Do you remember if, they sent any kind of, permission slip type thing home where your parents had to give permission for you to see it?
No, I don't remember that.
No?
Maybe my dad would remember, but I don't remember them doing that. I think they just did it, or they said, tell your parents we're going to do this, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe they did. I can't remember now. I mean, it was 25 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember it was just I just remember it being a one day.
Yeah.
And that video, and that was it, and everyone was kind of you know, okay, that's that then, you know.
Yeah. And then when you got older.
No, it was nothing in school in secondary school. I remember being taught
because
about.
funnily enough, and I don't want to like get ahead of ourselves here, but one of the replies that we got on Instagram was somebody who went to secondary school with you.
Oh yeah. Neil.
Neil. And what did he say?
He said, "Oh, Dom, did we even have the talk in Bringwin? I'm still suspicious of the whole reproductive system." Yeah.
So he didn't remember having it.
He doesn't remember having it.
Weird.
Maybe he didn't have it in his primary school. I'm not sure, but maybe he's just forgotten about it because it's just kind of like you kind of figure this stuff out for yourself more or less. Well, I guess I kind of did.
I think that's. I think that's why they decide they need to talk about it in school.
Or someone else outside of school says, "I'm gonna sit you down and have the talk."
Yeah.
For me it was my sister.
But I can't believe.
And I'd already kind of figured everything out then, but it was just kind of like, why you? Okay, yeah, I know how it all works. It's like.
But I can't believe that. I mean, fair enough. You said you don't remember if you learned anything else in secondary school.
I don't
secondary
think
school for American
it's like high school.
It's like high school.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I wonder if you did and you just don't remember. But then you have a classmate who doesn't remember.
Yeah, he doesn't remember it either. So no, we didn't. It was kind of like at that point, it was just like you were expected to know.
I wonder if it was well. Okay, so you want me to go now?
Yeah, you can go now. Yeah.
Okay.
Because mine was very underwhelming.
Well, I mean,
we'll talk about all the other people who.
I just find it really fascinating that they wouldn't mention anything. That they would show you a video of a baby being born when you're 10, and then nothing else when you get closer to being able to produce a child.
Yeah, yourself. Maybe it was different for girls. I don't know. Maybe girls got the education of it because it's like. Oh, pregnancy and all that when they're teens and all that. It's just kind of like, men, it's just like, oh, don't you be silly now.
We didn't actually...
That's the end of it,
We didn't actually get a lot of replies from people in the UK. So if you
we didn't.
So if you guys are listening...
Neil was the only one, actually.
From Britain, go ahead and let us know, and, maybe we'll mention it or we'll share it on social media somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, DM us or whatever and let us know if you're in Britain. Let us know your memories. In secondary school, was there any form of sex education? And if so, what was it? As for me, I can clearly remember the first talk in school. And I think I was in like 5th or 6th grade. Which is
primary. It's like primary or middle school, isn't it?
Middle school, yeah. It was middle school already where I lived. So I was like 10 or 11. And I think they warn you at the beginning of the year, either that or you already know because you probably know some older kids who have been through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So oh, this is the year. This is it. This is going to happen. And I was so just disgusted with the whole thing. I did not want to know. Don't take me in this room and tell me something creepy. Just leave me out of it. That's how I felt about it. It was embarrassing. And
a lot of people were just kind of I remember in class in mine it was the same sort of kind of some people were just kind of oh, I don't want to know about this.
Yeah.
Because I remember the actual act of it. It was they didn't talk. It was just very clinical. Yeah. It was just okay, it goes in.
Well, let me tell you. I mean, it goes in.
It goes in. Goes out,
Well, let me tell you, because your experience at age 10 was very different from my experience at age 10. My first talk was absolutely zero to do with sex itself. It was just about your
periods.
No, yeah. You're the age that you're going to start puberty. That was what it was. And they definitely split us up, boys and versus girls. We went into the auditorium, all the girls in the grade went into the auditorium, and we sat there, and I can't remember if there was a video or if someone was talking or what. I seem to think somebody was just talking. Yeah. And then they gave us all a little bag at the end, and it had a little deodorant stick in it, and it had a little.
You're gonna start to sweat, so here.
Yeah, you're gonna start to stink. Basically, you're gonna start to get body odor.
And was that just for the girls or for the boys too?
I don't know what they got because they were all okay. Well, let me finish.
Yeah.
And they would, you're going to grow hair in places. You're going to need this deodorant. Here's a mini pad also. I think there was a little period pad in there.
Boys probably didn't get that.
And it seems like something else, but I don't remember. So then afterward, I just remember being like, oh my God, this is worse than what I could have imagined. This was horrible. And then afterward, all the boys and because I guess we were let out at the same time, or maybe the boys were just outside waiting. What did they tell you? What did you see in there? What do you have in that bag? We were all like, no, just like squealing, no, don't look in our bags, no.
Yeah, so they split you up. Yeah. I can't remember them doing that. Maybe they did that with us. Maybe it was just like the boys, all the boys. Yeah, maybe now that I'm thinking about it, it was just boys who were watching this thing.
Yeah.
And then the girls had a different thing because they go through a different biological function, in life.
Yeah.
And not for boys, so boys can just get out of there,
But we did not learn anything about sex at that point. Nothing. And then I don't remember the rest of middle school learning anything else about sex.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's what I don't remember that either.
So then in high school, and I can't remember, I was trying to think before we started recording what grade it was, but I really do not remember. It may have been 10th grade actually, which is your sophomore year of high school, so I think you're 15, 16. We had health class.
Yeah.
And it lasted for one semester. So in America, we break the school year up by semester. So we start in late August and we run all the way to Christmas break, and that is the first semester, and then the second semester is after New Year until the end of May.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then you have summertime. So health class lasted one whole semester, so
August to Christmas or
August to Christmas or whatever. It's taught by the gym teacher. I don't know why.
The gym teacher
always taught by
Mr. Dillon.
Teacher.
He was PE teacher. Yeah. I remember that.
And we
because they know about physical health, I guess. It's like, oh yeah, we're not going to actually get a doctor or someone in here, to explain it. We'll just get the closest thing we have.
And basically health class, you're learning about all aspects of physical health. It's not just sex, but obviously there's a big focus on sex and STDs. Reproduction, birth control, condoms. We learn about all of that. There's lots of videos. You still have to take tests. I seem to think that there were maps of the female reproductive system, and you had to say which were the ovaries, which were the whatever.
I think we had that kind of thing after the video. We had a sheet with
at age 10.
I think so. Well, something like that. Yeah, I do remember. It's jogging my memory a little bit.
Yeah.
I remember we asked questions oh, what's chlamydia? What's
my God, at age 10?
Yeah, we were asking that kind of questions, and they said they weren't embarrassed, but it was just oh, to talk about this now,
Yeah.
It was just oh, okay, glad that's over with. But yeah, I vaguely I just vaguely remember it being like that. It was just kind of all clinical and all just this isn't a funny subject, stop giggling,
yeah.
Serious now, serious time.
Yeah. Definitely in health class in high school. I can't remember if you could opt out of that. I think it was required. I don't think it was an elective, which is what we refer to as things that you can choose to take or you don't have to take.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was required for everyone, and there were definitely boys and girls in the class. I don't remember being separated. Yeah. I don't remember it just being a class of girls. And I don't really remember, I guess people were probably laughing. I definitely remember it was
people were giggling, yeah.
I definitely remember, though,
I was probably giggling, too.
It seemed like something you were leading up to as a freshman, you know, and then, it's out in one of the, what we call portables, which is the buildings outside of the actual physical brick school, you know.
Oh, yeah, we had huts.
It was in a portable, so it was just like, you know, a health class in there.
Yeah.
I think maybe they like handed out condoms and everything, though.
Maybe, well, not when we were 10. But, you know, it was just like, you
must have had it again at some point. Surely
maybe,
you didn't learn all
I
of
can't
this
remember.
At age 10.
I really cannot remember what happened in my secondary school years. Because, you know, as Neil said, I don't remember the talk. You know, I don't remember it at all. Did we even have it? Because I went there from... about when it was about the tail end of year 7. I think I joined because I moved from England to Wales just after the year 7, so I did my first year of secondary in Torquay, and then I moved to Wales, and then I did the rest of it there, you know, so I was like year 8 to things, so I basically got the whole experience there.
Yeah.
So I don't remember it, and I mean, unless so if he doesn't remember it, I mean, it didn't happen, you know, it's like nobody really talked about it. Yeah. And I can't remember Gromley or, you know, Gromley or Terry Jones having you know, doing that with us, you know, really. Yeah. Maybe it was different for the girls, I don't know. I mean, I never asked any of them.
Yeah.
It's like, you've been given your pads yet, or whatever. You know? No.
But yeah, I mean, that was basically the gist of the experience. I mean, I don't, you know, I can't, it's been a while, so I can't really remember quite in depth, but it's funny because I wonder now how it varies from kids that are in school learning now, because as you mentioned off air to me, I don't remember learning anything about, like, homosexual or bisexual relationships.
No, it was all like it was just a man and a woman.
Yeah, so surely they now learn about all of that kind of stuff as well.
I remember the video is like, it started out like something like, you know, it was like a child's voice talking. They're always from like the north or the Midlands. Mm. When a man and a woman are very much in love, they get together and they make a baby. And I hope you're happy.
I really think the main, like, point of it was to just discourage sex in general, because, you'll get pregnant and then you'll have to drop out of school, you know what I mean? But yeah, surely nowadays it's been modernized and they focus more on actual sexual health. I seem to think
teaching. I imagine and teaching the difference between the which is what these groups are trying to do. You know, these communities are trying to do. Yeah, it's like the difference between bisexual, homosexual, you know, lesbian, gay, all that kind of stuff. You know, transsexual. Yeah. So I imagine there's a lot more focus on it now because of the internet. Because, I mean, 25 years ago, the internet wasn't a thing in Britain. And anyway, it wasn't mass. You know, I know people out there are going to be, I've been on the internet since 1991 or whatever. You know, it's just like, it wasn't like a huge thing until like the very late 90s.
And I think people who identify with being LGBTQI, you know, I think that they are a lot more open about it nowadays.
Well, yes.
So that in turn then forces the schools to have to talk about it, you know, whereas they didn't in the past because everything was much more closeted, unfortunately. Yeah. But I think that it's getting better, and I hope, anyway, if anybody has any kids that are like in high school and that are enrolled in health class this year or took it last year or something like that and knows exactly what all they teach in school nowadays, let us know, because obviously we don't know any school age kids to talk to, but I have high hopes that they learn a lot more nowadays than what we learned in school. And of course we learned a lot more than people in the 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s for sure.
Oh, I'm sure. I seem to think that back then they didn't even teach it to men. they just taught it to the women.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I haven't done any research on that, but I'm sure it was just like, okay, women have got to know this thing.
Because they're going to have a period.
And
that's it.
And it was like, oh, the women's got to know what to do, you know? And
they probably didn't even, at the time, equate a period to the fact that you are now able to have a child. They were just like, oh, you just need to know that this is going to happen to you,
and that's it.
And that's it, yeah.
So you're going to start bleeding, the end.
I can definitely imagine that, having been the situation. But we better get quickly to some of the responses got before we run out of time.
So we got Jay, one of our followers. Sex education was very basic in Kentucky. This was the late 70s, very early 80s. Strictly heterosexual. No showing how to use a condom or any type of birth control. Yeah, I don't remember that either.
I don't remember showing how to use a condom. Surely they did, though. I mean...
maybe they did.
I'm pretty sure we talked about birth control. I definitely know that we talked about all the different kinds of STDs and what they did, what they entailed, you know? Like, why you didn't want to get them.
He goes on, basically, open the book and take a quiz. The teacher was also the gym teacher.
Yeah, same.
Sex ed wasn't taught until 10th grade.
Yeah, 10th grade. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's when...
year 10, was it taught for us in year 10? I can't remember. No.
10th grade. I think that was the same year that we did it. But of course we did the like very basic puberty type health talk earlier.
I'm kind of thinking now that I was like, it was like you call it an elective. It was something, it was like a talk that you went to outside of school. It's like, do you want to know about this? Go to the gym class at 11 o'clock or on break time, and then they'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
And I remember it's like, oh, it's a sex thing. And I was like, oh, I had that in...
I did that when I was 10.
I did all that when I was 10. I don't need to know anymore. So maybe it happened. Maybe it was just one of those things that happened. I'm just kind of thinking, yeah, it wasn't like a thing where they taught it in a class, you know, that you had to be there for. It was like, oh, just go to the gym class at break time and find out what it's all about.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what happened. Maybe me and Neil just decided we didn't need to go there.
But yeah, I think it's interesting that he says it wasn't taught until 10th grade in the 70s and early 80s, because that's when I took it as well. Yeah. And I should make the point that there were already girls at my school who were pregnant and or had children. Yeah, there was. So it's just like 10th grade is a little bit too late.
About year 9, one of the girls in my year had to leave because she was pregnant, and it was it was an older boy and whatever. You know? And I don't know what happened there, but she would have been about 14.
Yeah.
So yeah. Diana says, I remember seeing childbirth and it traumatized half the class. Lol. I was in America and this was in 2005. They started teaching that early. Lol. I don't mind if you use my name.
Diana, okay, so she says she watched a video of childbirth.
Yeah, I remember that.
I remember it. But, I mean, I guess maybe we must have if it seems like everybody else did. Yeah, I really don't remember that, though. So that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I remember the childbirth bit because it was kind of like everybody was like, oh, you know.
Like, and was the camera actually pointed at the kid coming out? God, you would think
I think they showed a C-section too.
Really?
Yeah.
Why would they show that, though?
I don't know what it was. It was just very, like, medical.
Yeah.
And it was just woman talking.
Were you studying to become a doctor when you were 10?
I don't know. It was like, okay, so you know when a woman's pregnant, this is what you do, okay? You know? I don't know what it was all about, really, you know? I mean, I still don't know what it's all about.
I mean, we must have seen it, but you would think that I would remember, so I don't know.
Kimberly says, it was a movie in gym class. Middle school, 7th grade, about 12, 13 years old. The condom on banana trick. High school, 16, New York State public school system. So funny. I mean, I never put a condom on a banana, so...
No, we didn't.
And I don't intend to.
I really
in the near future.
Not remember that. Yeah, she doesn't say what period, what, like, decade she was in school, but... I don't remember that. I guess I guess we must have learned how to do it, because you would think that that would be something that they are going to teach you if they're teaching you, how to prevent STDs and stuff. Yeah. You're going to need to know how to work a condom, I guess. But,
I suppose so, yeah.
But I don't remember that.
I mean, obviously I don't.
I like how she says the old condom on the banana trick.
The old condom on banana trick never fails.
But so that's, movie and gym class, middle school, all the same, pretty much.
Victoria, she's from the Ukraine. She said, "We didn't have any sex education. At least I can't recall anything like that. I might have missed those lessons. My mum told me they'd found me in a cabbage."
That's so cute.
In a little cabbage. Yeah. I mean, that was that thing. It's like, he's like, how am I here? What happened?
Yeah.
You get that as a kid. What? You go to your parents, go, how am I here? Why am I here? What's going on?
Yeah.
All the cups wobbling.
I don't remember ever asking my parents.
I think I did, and people go, "You were found under. Where do babies come from? Oh, we found you under a gooseberry bush." That's what people used to tell me. I think my mother used to say, "Oh, you were found under a gooseberry bush."
Maybe they did. Maybe that is where they would.
That's what I was.
It would
that's
explain
what happened.
A lot. Okay.
Or I just popped out of the sea one day. Was found under a gooseberry bush.
But I appreciate that reply from the Ukraine, because it is interesting to hear other countries' experiences with sex education. Yeah. I wish we would have had more replies from other places than America, but it was still interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So thank you everybody for that.
Yes, thank you everybody who replied. Next time, hopefully, we'll give you guys a little bit more time to talk. To give us
to tell us your experiences. But
we do so much talking. Sometimes we don't have time for everybody's replies anyway.
Yes, I mean, like right now we're almost out of time.
We're almost out of time. Yeah, but quickly before we end, we have not made an announcement about our Patreon in a while, so I just want to
you're getting the announcement about the Patreon.
I just want to remind everyone that we do have a Patreon page where you can receive benefits at certain donation levels and get perks, basically.
Yeah, one of which is a knighthood from Erica. Erica knights you.
We've, I think, come up with a couple of new benefits that we'll be adding on there. Soon-ish, hopefully.
Yes.
But if you guys want to check that out, you'll get extra podcasts, podcasts that you can't get anywhere else, and Q&A with us, and Dominic recorded his own album.
And I'm in the middle of recording my next one, which I'm hoping to finish up and get it out in the stores for Christmas.
But of course, there's no obligation ever to...
of course not. No, we're not forcing you.
Yeah. We also have a coffee page if you want to just do a one-time donation.
One-time donation, yeah. Yeah. You just want to say, hey, thanks for that. Here's a tip.
Yeah.
Buy yourself a coffee or an ice cream. Because Erica loves ice cream.
We truly... Oh my god. We truly appreciate you guys' support. Whether it's financial, or whether it's just tuning in, or whether it's spreading the word on your social media pages. Yes. Leaving us a review on whichever podcast app you're listening to us on, or whatever.
Yes, we love you listening. Yeah. That's what we do.
So, we'll end it there. We won't go on and on like this is a PBS show.
On and on and on. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to cut into your programming and say, oh, isn't that great, Laura... What's the name? Laura Linney?
Laura Linney, yeah.
Laura Linney. Yeah, wasn't that episode great? It's not finished yet.
With only nothing wrong. Nothing against PBS, obviously.
PBS do great work.
Yeah, they do.
In all seriousness, they do great work.
And they do need the money.
They bring the Britishness to America.
But it always just cracks me up. And at the $500 level, you can get a personalized coffee mug from us.
Does that come with the coffee?
But thank you for tuning in. We appreciate your support as always. If you would like, we also have an Amazon shop on our website.
You can buy British things and some Texas things as well.
Well, American things on there. I don't know if there's any Texas specific things, although that's a good idea. We should add that.
Texas shaped crisps.
Yeah.
Tortilla chips. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to this sex education talk with us today. Yeah. And please pick up a bag of...
A pamphlet
and a bag. And a goodie bag with, like, deodorant and pads and a quiz.
Yes. Thank you, as always, for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.
Bye.
Bye.